Recorded Books presents an unabridged recording of The Presence, a Ghost Story by Eve Bunting, narrated by Alyssa Bresnahan. This book is copyrighted 2003 by Eve Bunting. This recording is copyrighted 2004 by Recorded Books. A tragic car accident that claimed the life of her best friend has left 17-year-old Catherine in a state of shock and severe depression. On a Christmas visit to her grandmother in Pasadena, a mysterious stranger approaches and tells her that he has the power to channel the dead. But Catherine isn't sure if the stranger is real or the product of her imagination. And now, The Presence.
Chapter 1. The ghost stood on the church stairs, watching, waiting for Catherine. He was 17 years old. He'd always be 17, though he had died 120 years earlier. He was as handsome now as he'd been then, unchanged but invisible. Invisible unless he chose to show himself, and he hadn't allowed that to happen too often in all the long, endless years. The ghost didn't like the word for what he was. Ghost. It made him think of wraiths, of mists and formless forms who moaned and sighed. That was not his way. So he preferred to think of himself as a presence. Once he'd heard an old woman say, shivering and clasping her arms about herself, "I feel a presence in this church." "Of course, you feel God," her younger friend had suggested, with a touch of exasperation. "I am not speaking of God," the old woman said, and the ghost had smiled his invisible smile and thought, "She feels me. She is close to death herself, and so she senses me." He'd laid a feather touch on her old wrinkled hand and laughed silently when she pulled away and rubbed it nervously on her coat. But she'd given him the word, and it pleased him. The presence waits for Catherine, he told himself now. He was patient because he had nothing but time stretching before and behind him.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?